Today, AT&T offloading its media unit WarnerMedia, reversing its largest deal ever from just 3 years ago. WarnerMedia is now set to partner up with Discovery to focus on streaming services. And Facebook plans to launch a new digital currency later this year. It failed the first time, so will it work now? And many Americans ultimately aspired to buy their own home, but a new study says many who did now regret it. And much more coming up at NTD Business. Good evening, great to have you with us. It looks like there'll be another big player in the streaming space soon. AT&T is spinning off its WarnerMedia division and merging it with Discovery. We don't know the name of the new company yet, but it seems the idea is to have enough content to compete with Netflix and Disney. Here's NTD's Evelyn Lee with the details.
AT&T announces a deal worth $43 billion, merging its unit WarnerMedia with Discovery. The deal will create a new and standalone business. Its name will be disclosed by next week. And Discovery President and CEO David Zaslav will be the one leading the new company.
For AT&T, this is a humiliating defeat. They entered this business just 3 years ago, paying $109 billion for it. They're selling it today for something like $50 billion.
According to Keith Snyder at CFRA Research, the merger creates a content behemoth. It brings together Hollywood's most powerful studios, including the Harry Potter and Batman franchises, with Discovery's variety of unscripted shows. The new company will be in direct competition with Netflix and Disney.
And it makes sense for Discovery as well, because Discovery needs scale, and bringing HBO Max and Discovery Plus together really does give them a long-term growth platform that can be competitive against Netflix and Disney.
Snyder also says that the deal isn't surprising. Pressure on traditional pay TV ramped up during the pandemic, with all the people stuck at home binge-watching shows. This move highlights that TV viewership is moving to streaming. Zaslav says the new company will spend about $20 billion on content combined. That's more than Netflix will spend this year. And he said he expects to increase programming investment in the future. It's not immediately clear what the new company means for customers, but it likely allows the bundling of streaming services. The deal is expected to close by the middle of next year. It still needs approval from Discovery shareholders. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Bill Gates resigned from Microsoft's board last year because of a romantic relationship with an employee. It says a female Microsoft engineer alleged it went on for over a number of years, and that allegation was enough for the board to investigate. The Journal says Gates then resigned before the investigation was complete. In a statement, Gates says he didn't deny the relationship, but he said it has nothing to do with him stepping down from the board. Earlier this month, his wife, Melinda, filed for divorce. And buying a home has always been part of the American dream. But many young home buyers these days are actually regretting their purchase. So, if you're planning on buying a home, listen up. NTD's Arlene Richards explains.
A new study says nearly 2/3 of millennial home buyers regret buying a house, the reasons being both financial and physical. The Bankrate survey says high prices are a big factor.
We've seen real interesting dynamics here with respect to the home affordability equation here in recent times, with home prices across the nation rising strongly. People are bidding on homes, and the home is selling at a price that's significantly above the asking price.
Another big factor, unexpected maintenance costs. Over 20% of millennials felt these costs were too high.
They need to do a better job of prioritizing emergency savings. And emergency savings really does tie into home ownership because of the need to replace a roof, the need to call a plumber.
And because of the competitive market, you have less time to decide whether or not to buy. If you don't decide fast, the property may go to someone else.
You appreciate the fact that the house prices are probably going to continue going up, but it was a feeling of kind of being pressured into it.
Besides maintenance costs, doing maintenance in and of itself is an issue.
I'm not necessarily one to appreciate house maintenance work like lawn maintenance and all of this stuff.
To avoid post-purchase regrets, Bankrate recommends working with an agent who understands the market, as well as making a budget and sticking to it. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
And prices continue to rise. The average U.S. gas price hit a 7-year high today. Many filling stations in the southeast are still without fuel as the region slowly recovers from that cyber attack on the nation's largest fuel pipeline. NTD's Christina Kim has the details.
Retail gasoline prices in the U.S. hit a 7-year high on Monday, even after Colonial Pipeline resumed normal service over the weekend. AAA said the national gas price on Monday hit $3.04 a gallon, the highest since October 2014. Colonial Pipeline delivers around 45% of the fuel for the East Coast. It halted operations last week after hackers attacked it. The shutdown stopped millions of barrels of gasoline and diesel from flowing to the East Coast, causing panic buying of fuel and a surge in prices. A spokesperson for AAA said the Southeast would continue to experience tight supply this week as terminals and gas stations get refueled. AAA also expects more price fluctuations leading up to Memorial Day weekend. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Ron Johnson says the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack has exposed existential-scale vulnerabilities in America's fuel and electrical grid.
What we should all take away from this is understand how incredibly vulnerable our fuel grid is, our electrical grid is, and do something about it.
Johnson called for the investment in backup systems and for those responsible for the attack to be punished. Christina Kim, NTD News.
And Tesla CEO Elon Musk again sending Bitcoin on a crazy ride. It fell to a 3-month low on Monday before recovering after Musk suggested Tesla may be considering or maybe even already sold off its Bitcoin holdings. Bitcoin fell more than 9% to about $42,000. That's the lowest since February 8th. Later, Musk clarified what he said earlier, saying in one tweet Tesla has not sold any Bitcoin. Right after that tweet, Bitcoin jumped back up. Last Wednesday, Musk said Tesla would stop taking Bitcoin as payment for Tesla cars due to environmental concerns. And then the crypto market lost nearly a quarter of its value in just 5 days. And Facebook is going to have another go at its own digital currency later this year. Its Diem cryptocurrency will be pegged to the dollar, so its price will change as the dollar changes. It's a stable coin. We don't know what you'll be able to do with your dollar Diems yet, but I assume you'll be able to pay for things with your Facebook app like Apple Pay or Google Pay, buy things on the platform, send money to friends instantly, etc. But they haven't released any details yet. David Gerard literally wrote the book on Facebook's first failed attempt at digital currency called Libra. Politicians and central banks weren't too happy about the competition back then. Gerard's book is called Libra Shrugged, How Facebook Tried to Take Over the Money. I asked him if the newest attempt will succeed.
Oh, I think there's some chance, yeah. Facebook are slowly being forced to cut their big plan down until it's a reasonable thing that will work and not be weird. And, you know, we know how to do payment processes. PayPal, Venmo, they're quite popular, well-known, well understood. And I think the more it looks like something that regulators understand, the happier they'll be, and they'll know how to manage Facebook's use of it. Because, you know, there's no such thing as unregulated money. I mean, if you have money, people have very particular ideas how you handle it, and they want to make sure that you're behaving properly.
What's been weird about their plans in the past?
With the Libra plan, they were going to do this currency which would be a basket of 6 other currencies or something like that, and it would be its own currency unit. It would flow around the world without any sort of regulation or restrictions. This immediately flagged everyone's attention to the possibility of money laundering or sanctions evasion, which is a huge problem with cryptocurrencies at the moment. And the fact they were doing it as a cryptocurrency meant that was at the top of people's minds. The current Diem system, they're still doing it on a blockchain-ish system, but it's a restricted one. So functionally, it's the same as having a central controller. They just use a different distributed sort of database. It's a bit weird. I don't know why they're doing it this way. It doesn't actually do anything or add anything to the system. I think they will press forward with this until they get something that is acceptable, just so they can properly move into payments as a back end themselves.
You mentioned one of your recent writings that with the Libra project before, I think the guy who was heading it, Mr. Marcus, he put his foot in it. He said they were going to compete with kind of sovereign currencies, Argentina's currency. They said it could replace Argentina's currency at the time or something, right?
He used Argentina as a good example of a country where the currency was bad and Libra could fix that. He didn't speak in terms of Argentina saying, please come in and run our currency for us. He talked as though Facebook was just going to move in with a better product and it'd just take over. That's a direct threat to a national currency. Even if he wasn't thinking that at the time, he was saying words that were a direct threat. And he said this more than once. So everyone took this as being something that would be a problem for them, because obviously it would be. The European reaction was immediate. No, you can't have a private sovereign currency. Because, let's be clear, Europe is regulated, but these are capitalist countries. They like business. They love business. But they also know that business needs regulation or it goes a bit weird.
David Gerard. And families with kids can expect a monthly check of around $300 starting July. That's according to President Biden. The expanded child tax credit is part of the virus spending bill passed this year.
And eligible families will receive a monthly payment of up to $300 per month for each child under the age of 6 and up to $250 per month for each child age 6 until the year they turn, over age 6, till the year they turn 18.
Annually, families will get $3,600 per child under 6 years old and $3,000 per child over 6. The benefit will reach 39 million households. The Biden administration says the plan is to help the economy recover from the pandemic, but others are worried about the debt and the impact on inflation. Prices are already rising significantly this year, which hurts lower-income earners more. Republicans don't want two more expensive plans Biden's trying to pass either, and they say they won't support any plan that raises taxes. And America and the EU have been tit for tat in tariffs since the Trump administration, but now the European Union is agreeing to a partial truce with the US over metal tariffs. They also want to discuss China's trade practices. NTD's Patrick Hayden has more.
The European Union has agreed to a partial trade truce with the United States in a dispute over metal tariffs imposed during the Trump presidency. The EU says it will suspend a planned hike of retaliatory tariffs for up to 6 months. Products tariffed would include sportswear, cosmetics, doubled tariffs on bourbon, motorbikes and motorboats. In a joint statement, Brussels and Washington say, as allies, they could promote high standards and address shared concerns. They say that includes holding countries like China that support trade-distorting policies to account. They both are also seeking to work on a solution for the global oversupply of steel and aluminum. The head of the EU Trade Committee, Bernd Lang, says the United States needs to come to the next EU-US summit with a tangible commitment to reciprocate the EU gesture. Otherwise, tariff hikes would be justified. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
And there will be no World Economic Forum this year. The CCP virus made a rethink holding such a large event. The meeting was planned for mid-August, but the group says it's just not possible this year. The venue had already been changed from Davos, Switzerland to Singapore, but Singapore has recently imposed some of the tightest restrictions since it exited lockdown last year. Nearly 3,000 participants from 130 countries went to the event last year, but the group says the annual meeting will instead take place in the first half of 2022. And as the lockdown eases in England, pubs, bars, restaurants are all welcoming customers indoors. And this time there are no curfews or rules about having a substantial meal with your pint. NTD's Jane Worrell has more.
After several months of only serving takeaways, this 24-hour cafe prepares to welcome customers just after midnight on Monday morning.
Yeah, we're dead excited. We've been waiting for this for quite a while, to be honest, and we're just waiting for the customers to come back, hoping that they'll be confident enough to come and dine in, which I think most people are now, and we're obviously COVID safe.
The cafe has been in the family since 1959 and is located in the heart of the capital's financial district.
There's been peaks and troughs, there's been recessions, there's been, bombings, there's been, fairly different times. I think the most recent lockdown and sort of COVID has been unprecedented. To get back to the hustle and bustle of where we were pre-COVID probably will take a little bit longer than, this year. We're looking at next year to be a better year.
While it wasn't packed, people were happy to be back.
Most venues in the capital, though, reopened indoors during the day. For many people, it feels like a step closer to normality.
It's so nice. It feels like life's getting back to normal again. It's also still freezing outside, so don't have to eat food within 2 minutes to stop it from getting too cold.
The idea of eating outside was nice, but only nice once, and then you soon realise that actually it's too cold to eat outside.
This time around, there isn't a curfew on pubs and bars or the rule to have a substantial meal with a drink. A relief to be open for restaurants like this one, with staff happy to be making dishes for their customers again.
Good, nervous, excited. There's always a little bit of a worry at the back of my head, but that's part of my job. But generally very positive. Everybody is engaged, our colleagues are all engaged, and we have a lot of reservations, so hopefully this is it, from here on.
It's hoped that all restrictions will be eased by June 21st. A government review of this is expected at the end of May. Jane Warrell, NTD News, London.
And the luxury goods sector might bounce back from the health crisis as early as this year. Consultancy firm Bain says Chinese and American shoppers are already helping get sales back to pre-pandemic levels. Eamon McCarthy reports.
Chinese and US shoppers with a taste for the finer things in life could help the luxury goods sector shrug off the hit from the global health crisis this year. That's according to Bain. The consultancy firm said that it now sees a 30% probability that sales of high-end handbags, clothes and jewellery will this year return to or exceed their 2019 level of $340 billion. But it still depends on progress in tackling the health crisis and how fast tourism picks up. Luxury goods sales fell by 23% last year, their largest ever drop and the first decline since 2009. That was due to forced shop closures and a halt to international tourism. But the crisis does not seem to have had a lasting impact on consumers' appetite and spending power for high-end wares. Soaring sales in China, the biggest market for luxury goods, and a stronger than expected US rebound thanks to a major stimulus program have helped revenues bounce back sharply in the first quarter of 2021.
Still to come. Ready or not, tax day is here. And if you waited till the last minute, what does it mean for your return? Now we take a sneak peek at the new Harry Potter flagship store in New York City and a taste of what you can find there. And more after this short break. If your taxes aren't done, you better get moving, pronto, because today is tax day. The official deadline to file federal income taxes has historically been April 15th, but this year the IRS delayed it by a month due to the pandemic. And since May 15th was a Saturday, everyone got 2 extra days, so no excuses. But taxpayers who wait until the last minute to file can expect Uncle Sam to do the same. The IRS is still dealing with a backlog of returns that date back as far as 2019. That means your 2020 refund may not be processed as quickly as you'd like. Of course, if you owe the government, that's still due Monday. And Customs and Border Protection officials seized 36,000 Apple Airpod knockoffs in Cincinnati last week. While the headphones do not claim to be official Apple products, officials say they violate trademark and copyright codes. Authorities intercepted 3 shipments of the products labeled as Elite Pods. The final destination was marked as Dayton, Kentucky. CBP officials say the value of the fake headphones is around $5,300, But if they'd been official Apple Airpods, they'd be worth more than $7 million. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you'll soon be able to drink Butterbeer in New York City. It'll be served at the world's only official Harry Potter flagship store there. NTD's David Lamb gives us a sneak peek.
Harry Potter fans will soon be able to clink glasses filled with Butterbeer at the world's only official Harry Potter flagship store when it opens in New York City on June 3rd.
Butterbeer is the drink that all the Hogwarts students drink.
Actress Ivana Lynch played the role of Luna Lovegood in the Harry Potter film series. She describes how the drink tastes.
Butterscotch, yeah, buttery, creamy, sugary, delicious. This is non-alcoholic. I believe it's alcoholic in the books.
Lynch is vegan and was thrilled that the bottled Butterbeer came in a vegan version so she could drink one herself.
I actually didn't drink any Butterbeer in the movies. That's more like the cool kids, the Gryffindors.
Customers visiting the store will be able to choose draft or bottled Butterbeers and eat Butterbeer ice cream.
I love the idea that you can just, you can be walking around New York City and just come in for a Butterbeer and hang out with your friends.
Nearly 1,000 bottles hover over the Butterbeer bar while Butterbeer moves through copper pipes. The retail store takes up 3 floors. It'll sell the largest collection of Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts products. Author J.K. Rowling's 7 Harry Potter novels about a boy wizard have sold more than 500 million copies worldwide. Then they were turned into 8 blockbuster movies. Rowling followed up with a spin-off movie franchise, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. David Lamb, NTD News.
And breathtaking views of New York's iconic skyline will soon be available from an all-new observation deck. It's located in Midtown Manhattan. The skyscraper ranks among the city's tallest. NTD's Andrew Thomas has a story.
1,100 feet above New York City, the 93rd floor of One Vanderbilt offers incredible views of the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building, and the Statue of Liberty. The 1,401-foot tall skyscraper is the tallest building in Midtown Manhattan and the 4th tallest in New York City. The $3.3 billion development next to Grand Central Terminal features Summit One Vanderbilt, a 4-level, 65,000 square foot space at the top of the building.
We're already seeing the city reopening right now. It's May, and there's a whole vibe in the city now that really didn't exist as much as 2 or 3 months ago. I think this is the right moment for Summit One Vanderbilt when people are going to be fully vaccinated, ready to get out of their homes.
The building's all-glass elevator is named Ascent. It travels up the outside of the building to views that soar 1,200 feet above the city. Visitors will be able to step out in glass skyboxes called levitation. They suspend guests 1,000 feet above Madison Avenue.
When you sit up here and you look out at this vista, there's no better shot, I don't think, of downtown, the Empire State Building. We've got views out to Jones Beach, Sandy Hook, and West Point to the north, and it's just very exhilarating.
Summit One Vanderbilt opens to the public on October 21st. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Pretty nice. That's the latest business updates for today. You can still catch NTD Evening News coming up very soon. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with Stephanie Cox. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.